Hi everybody, Jo here again. Thanks for joining me today. Well, it's Tuesday, so it's time for our usual Tuesday crafty catch-up. And today we're going to be having a look at how to use brushes creating a background. Now, this is the design I've come up with, but I've sort of put my own twist on the way that we're going to create it. As you know, I come up with various techniques. I tend to do things slightly different to other demonstrators, but that's purely because I come up with ways of almost making things easier for workshop when I'm teaching workshops. And also when I'm teaching workshops, I can see how sometimes crafters may struggle with certain techniques. So I try and find ways of making it almost easier. So that's what we're going to do. So I'm hoping you've got a brew and you're sitting comfortably, and we can have a nice little catch up. Now I'm just going to put the card to one side. She says this table. Now one of you lovely followers, and I must look your name up, asked if they could look at my craft room. Well, I promise I will one day give you a guided tour around my craft room on a little YouTube video, but at the minute all it is just stuff everywhere. Believe you me, this little space is the actual only bit where there isn't anything at the minute. Now, Brusho powders. For those of you who maybe haven't met them before, they are tiny little almost powders, crystals of pigment, which is colour. They were developed originally for schools, and it was a way of sending out paint in the form of powders that then you didn't have to send liquids. And obviously liquid can be added to give the paint and the background. Now, the first thing that, if you've not met them before, they have this lovely device here where you can pull the ring pull and take the lid off. But the majority of people will actually use a pin and pop it in the lid just because you don't want to spill your Brusho powder everywhere. You know, us crafters, we spend our hard-earned money on products. We don't want to waste them. And if you're anything like me, you have to have a coloured pin to coordinate with the colour. Says more about me, doesn't it? So today I'm going to be using violet. I'm afraid I haven't got any violet pins, so blue was the nearest I got. And leaf green. Now, what happens when you wet these powders? They do split into lots of colours, and I love leaf green because that has lots of sort of greens but also yellows. And you see the violet sort of goes down the blue and the purple way. So I just thought these were two nice colours to work together. Loads of things you can do with your Brusho powders. I have got videos where we've mixed them with water and used them on our gel press. You can paint directly with them once you've added the water, and you can also make backgrounds. So today we're going to be using them. You can use them through a stencil as well. So many things you can do with them. Now, while we get our things together, I'm going to add my black Sharpie line round my card while we catch up. Now, I'm using the multifarious, but the ivory. I just love not to use white for a change. I think it's just so nice. And this is a 5.5 inch square because it's going on a 6x6 card blank. So while we have our little catch up and I can say, how are things going this week? I must admit, I'm feeling a little bit better than I was last week. Thank you, to all of you for your lovely comments. It's so nice when you get in touch and just send a hug, and all those hugs have been greatly appreciated. We all get down at times, and it is nice that we can be here for each other. Now, as always, I'm doing this at the beginning because, again, you know me, if I do it at the end, I may slip. But also, I find we're going to be adding water to this. And because we're going to add water, the card may warp slightly. Multifarious doesn't really, but for me, I find it easier to put the line on in the beginning. And let's look a bit more professional and have a cleaner piece of paper. Now, majority of demonstrators would put the brushes and the water on the background now and leave that to dry and then stamp on it. But like I say, me being me, we're going to do our stamping first, just because two reasons. One, I find that Again, I'm not a confident stamper, and I find if it's going to go wrong for me, it's my stamping. I'm a bit of a tinker. So I don't want to, oh, and this is going to sound daft, but I know you understand. I know you know where I'm coming from, because you're just crafters like me, and I'm just a crafter like you. If I was to make a lovely background with my brushes and stamp on it, and it ended up filed in the bin, I'd feel I'd wasted my background. So hence, we're going to do our stamping first. And I'm going to use pan, and I'm just going to use my black ink. And as I say, for me, it's just a different way of doing it. But because we're stamping in permanent, our VersaFine Clair, the Nocturne, when we add the Brusho powders and the water, we know, just need to reach for Mr. Inky Binky, because I've just slightly caught that. We know that this is a permanent ink, so it won't move. So hence, I can do my stamping first. So I'm just going to pop him sort of there. And again, he's a lovely silhouette, so I just want to give that ink time to soak in. Now, your watercolour card is very good for this. Your multifarious. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add the Brusho powders. And as I say, it's just a slightly different way round that I want to show you. Now, the first thing I do is have my water spritzer ready and have a piece of my kitchen towel. And if I try and get that in shot for you, and you can spritz your water first if you wish. I'm going to come in with my powders first. And I'm just going to tap a little bit of the violet there. I know it's put the lid on. Even though I may add some more, I want to just keep that pin in. And we'll add a little bit of the leaf green, sort of there and there. And this is just such great fun. Give it a spritz. Now, I know it sounds obvious, but sometimes we need to know the obvious. The more water I add, the more this colour will almost explode and disperse into the water. So if I wanted an area where we've got, if I bring it up, almost like little dots, the solid powder, you have that. If I want it to move more, I'll just spritz with more water, and look how it starts to run and separate. If you find it's running too much, for me, bring your kitchen towel in and just give it a bit of a blot. So in a way, you know, it is controllable. So if I looked at this and thought, oh, I love that, but I just want a little bit more of the leaf green, let's come back in a bit more with the leaf green. And I can always, see, I love when these lines sort of appear, gives movement. Great for backgrounds, the, what are they called? Dragons. I couldn't think of the word. The dragons for a man's card. Anything sort of mystical, Halloween, the reds and the other black splits into wonderful colours. So again, I'm just going to dab a little bit. So as I say, you can, to a certain extent, if you thought there was too much colour, wet it, dab it. And so it gives you an idea how you can, I mean, I think this looks lovely, like there's a whole explosion around our pan. Now, at this point, I'm just going to put these to one side. So again, that was leaf green and violet. And I'm just going to put that to one side. She says, I'm filing it on the floor, and I just want to mop my mat up here. Now, I like to leave mine to dry naturally. You can speed it up with your heat tool, but for me, I just find it looks almost a little bit more organic if it dries naturally. So in good old Blue Peter fashion, and for those ladies and gents who don't know Blue Peter that live abroad, you may need to put that in a search engine. And yes, I am one of those crafters who has a Blue Peter badge for designing a stamp, a postage stamp. So this is one I've prepared earlier and I've let it dry. As I say, I just like to let it dry naturally. And as you can see, we've got the beautiful violet and these runs, and I just think that's lovely. And for me, I know now I've got the basis of my design here. And again, if you wanted to batch card make, you could make quite a few of these and then add your surrounding. Just take it, you know, if you've had a day where your mojo's gone, or a bit like me recently, you felt a bit, oh, I felt so fed up, I've really not felt like crafting. But finding a background like this with a stamped image, I think, how can I finish this off? And sometimes, you know, if you're having a bit of a downtime like me, you know, maybe go through your pieces of work that are half finished and finish them. And I do think that helps with your mojo. So let's add a little bit to this. And what we're going to do is let's just add a bit of landscaping. So I'm going to come in with my acetate hill masks and let's have a look. And we're going to use 2 colours of elements, ink pads, and we're coming in with olive and also violet chalk. And I thought the violet chalk would pick up those violet purpley tones, and obviously the olive is with the leaf green colours, just to keep it sort of tone on tone. And what we're going to do is just ground pan to start off with. So we'll just pop this under here. And again, I'm using my stencil brush. And I'm going to start under pan. Always go on your mask first. But if I start under pan where I've got the most ink on, then that's good because it'll just almost increase his shadow without me even trying. And we'll come right down. Such a lovely colour this. And we'll just add 1 hill. Don't want to go through his knapsack, so I think I'll angle it, we'll go there. And I'm not adding any more ink, I'm just going to go with whatever's left and we'll just come down these sides. Again, nothing too difficult. And we'll pop the lid on that. And I'm just going to give my mask a wipe before I put that away. And again, I'm filing it away so I don't lose it. And already, that's lovely. It's starting to build that scene up. So if I get my violet chalk ready, and we'll add one of our circle masks for the moon. Let's have a look. Should we go this one? Now, I'm just going to turn my work this way. You know me, it's just the way I work. I like to turn it round. I find it easier. Now, again, with my moon. Now, I could have put it round pan, but I want to put my word in here, my sentiment. So I'm putting it here. Now, I've got the most ink on my brush now, and even though I'm bringing it off on the moon, I'm still going to start at the base. And I almost use a combination of flicking and little circular motions. Now, if I start at the base of the moon, where I've got the most ink, the colour will be deeper. So again, that will instantly help with the shadow and the shading. And that's just started to build that up lovely. And again, I'm going to give that a good wipe and we'll put that away. Now, while we've got this lovely colour, and I just want my kitchen towel, I'm going to just edge with the same colour. So I'm just going to catch, and again, I'm using my stencil brush, they're perfect for this. And I'm just going to come down the side. And again, I don't want too much. Just a little bit there. And turn it round. I know we start on the corners, because the corners, I want them to be deeper. And I'm just going to hold that down a little. My corner's popping up. Get down. And then we'll add a little bit from the side here. And come right across the top. Just helps frame it. And just adds to that whole. Now, I must admit, this is looking a bit deep to me. So I'm actually going to come back in with this. A little bit of ink. And just fuzzy that edge a little bit. It's just, you know, in these things, sometimes that was just annoying me. I think that edge just needed a bit of fuzzy in. So I've only added a tiny bit of ink. and I'm just working that ink that's there. There we go, that's better. Don't know if you can see any difference, but I certainly can. That just looks better to me. Just fuzzies that edge, if there is such a term. It was worth me doing that. I think if there are things that do annoy you or you notice, you know, you do need to sort of go with them, and there's nothing wrong with that. I will just clean that up. Now, the design can be left like this. And again, I like to do designs that you can stop at any time you want. And for me, that's a beautiful design in itself. But I just want to add a little bit more detail here. And for this, I'm coming in with the tree of... Now, I think this one is Tree of Courage. I will double check. You know me, I have a habit of renaming things. But there's the Tree of Hope and the Tree of Courage, and they face opposite ways. Absolutely beautiful stamps. And with this, it doesn't matter if I don't get the whole of the stamp on. I just want the idea of something there. Now again, I could have stamped this first when I stamped Pan, but I've got to be honest, in my original, I was actually going to leave it at this stage. But when I got to this stage, I thought it just needed a little bit more. I did that thing of, you know, I don't know about you, you know, where you change your mind, you have a design in your head, and some things, you know, things just take over and it changes. So I just thought it would benefit from a bit of a shape here. And as I say, I might not get the whole thing on, but that doesn't matter. With your stamps, do remember you don't need to stamp the whole image. And again, this is a beautiful, beautiful stamp. The detail that Tracy draws in our stamps. And they're all hand drawn, hand designed. Certainly one clever lady. There we go. And don't worry that this is see-through. We can add to that. And while I've got my stamps, got this gorgeous buttercup stamp. And again, for me, this is a beautiful little stamp and not used often enough. And what's lovely is it's got, can you see? Let me move this out. If you've not got this stamp, look, it's got these gorgeous dots here. It's just a lovely, lovely stamp. So let's take Pan off our block. Right, mate. Now this, I'm going to stamp in black, but first I'm going to stamp in the Monarch, a purpley colour. And again, if you're not sure how it's going to look, so I know we've got a couple of newbies, lovely new followers, so use your acetate look and just see, could pop it there, pop it here. And as you know, what I like to do is use two colours, especially for the edging along the bottom. So if we come in with the purple first, this I think A looks nice, ties the whole design together, but also will add to depth. So we'll put one there. And I don't want to overcook it with this. I just want that lovely diagonal and just to add a bit of depth. So we'll put another purple one there. Let's have a look how that's looking. Yes, you see that's looking lovely. And I am just going to, because I'm going between colours, I am just going to give my stamp a quick wipe. I know the purple, my black would overpower the purple, but I don't like to contaminate my ink pads. So I'm thinking if we put a black in the middle, there, and then just a little, sort of, and just change the angle, there. And I think that just looks, just finishes it off. So again, we'll give that a wipe. Now, as always, just going to give that a blot because it's a slower drying ink, your VersaFine Clair. and we'll actually stamp the words while I'm stamping. Now, the word dream comes from, there's a set that says, never let go of your dreams. But I just wanted the word dreams, and I just thought it would fit beautifully, sort of in the moon there. And also I thought it could be used for lots of occasions, this, so I may just get my head over. So I'm very sorry if I do. There we go. Hopefully that's straight. And again, let's give that a bit of a blot. And, you know, before you know it, you've actually got the basis of your beautiful design. But now it's to the finishing tricks, the bits, you know, for me, this is the bit that I love. I mean, I love all of it. But what's nice is we've got that lovely background. Now, if I wanted to add some foliage, I could add some more foliage to the tree. So I think we might even do that in a minute, you know. But what we'll do first, I just want to add a little bit of colour to the tree. So I'm going to come in with my watercolour pencils. And I'm just going to go for... Now, I know you think this is mad and you're going to say to me, trees aren't blue. But I'm just going to add a little bit of blue. I almost want it to look a bit magical. So I'm just going to add a little bit of blue. A bit more blue down here. And then come in with brown. Sometimes I think it's nice to go for a colour that you wouldn't necessarily associate. And let's just get my number one, the one I favour, my Lavinia brush, which is in water, and then we'll just add some water to this pencil. Oh, look at that beautiful colour. It'll just blend that blue and the brown, and it just gives to that nice mystical. And again, I'm not being over precious, just adding a little bit so it doesn't look as see-through. I like that, and it blends with those lovely colours that we can see. And while I've got them out, I'm just going to add some colour to Pan's wings, and we've got two purples in here. So I'm going to add the lighter purple here, and then at the base, going to come in with the deeper purple. Or better check, you can actually see I have a habit of wandering off, don't I? I am sorry. When you shout at me, just shout at me, tell me. And then starting with the lighter, and then down into the darker, and then just watercolour that up, and that will blend beautifully. There we go. And it's just so quick and easy. Now, if you wanted, as I say, to add some extra foliage, you could come in with your green Brusho. We'll just add a little, I don't want too much. And let's just spritz. There we go. I don't want any more than that. So I'll mop this up. Now, again, if it was wet anywhere where you didn't want it, just mop it up. Like I say, you're in control, and that just adds beautifully to that area. And then a couple of finishing touches with our beautiful pastel pencils. And we're going to do our usual white highlights. And again, this will just take time to dry, but the good thing is we're working on this area here. So I'm just going to have some white highlights here on his hat, a little bit on his face, his arm, and again, the light's coming this way, so it'll just catch the front of him here, down here, and again, just smudge it with your finger and fix it. And maybe just this side of his little knapsack we can, yeah. And we can also do a little bit if we want to catch our beautiful buttercups. But what looks really nice Oh, let me add the shadow before I get carried away with what looks really nice. Now for the shadow, I've got my black, because obviously we use black, but I'm thinking let's introduce a bit of the green. So it's not sort of just with the black. I love experimenting with these colours. So maybe if we add a bit of green, and again his shadow won't be straight down, the moon's here, so it's going to be at this angle. And the same with this tree. It'll almost be at this angle, won't it? And then we'll add a little bit of the black and then smudge it. And the same at the base of the tree. And here with pan, it's almost gone into the tree there. And it's just the little things like the shadows really finish it off. And what I'm going to do is, if you look on my original, let me just see if I can show you. You see here I've put a little bit of yellow, almost like a yellowy glow. And for that I'm just going to use my chalk pencil. And I just want to almost add to that magical feel. So again, I'm just using the pastel pencil and just adding a little bit of a yellowy glow. And I'm going to do it on this side of the tree as well. Just to add to that lovely highlight and make it look almost just that bit more magical. And it's lovely to just show you different ways of adding these. And the same with the moon here, we can almost make this look a little bit more magical. I just want to check it's dry, which it is. And while I've got the yellow out, in this area here, I'm going to add a bit of yellow. And I think to go with the green, there's this gorgeous light green, what's this called? Permanent yellowish green. Well, it does look like a yellowish green, I must admit. And if I just... So I'm almost going with the shape, but bringing that colour round. And so this side, let's go. We've got a gorgeous lilac-y colour, which is called Violet Light. And we can add a little bit here to add to this shape. And I'm just going to come in with a little bit of white as well. And then blend that with my finger. Now, if you don't like blending with your finger, remember your biodegradable cotton buds are great, or your Pergamano nibs. Both work well for blending. And I just think this adds to that shape and almost gives it a bit more depth. Let's just... And again, you can play and add as much. I just want a bit more up there. Add as much or as little as you want. It's better. Because you'll just take your time. There we go, I like that, the way that comes round now. And it's just about building up that sort of, I just think it gives it such a magical feel. And it's another way of using, you know, we buy these products, so it's good to see how we can use them. Let's just add, we didn't add some yellow on his knapsack here, and I think that just needs a bit of yellow. And at the base there. As I say, you will take even longer and just get it looking absolutely spit spot. But I think that is just beautiful. Obviously, because we added some extra water here, that will take a while to dry. And again, I don't want to use my heat tool. You could use your heat tool, but I don't want to. Now, your Signo pens, these are absolutely beautiful. And as you know, I use this gold one so much because it just adds that extra bit of sparkle. So where we've got yellow highlights, I'm just going to come in with this gold sparkle. And it'll just add. Now again, you can use your white pen if you want, but I must admit I find the gold works a treat myself. And just on the top of some of these lovely buttercups. Must admit mine's running out. So there's going to be an order going in. I can't live without it. I definitely need some more of the gold sparkle. And I've also got, oh, and this here, the gorgeous, almost twisted vine around. Looks lovely with that. And I've also got one here that's, I want to say violet, but I'm not sure. It is violet. So it's lovely purpley colour, which is perfect to just add on Pan's wings, some little dots to bring in the colours, look. And again, see, I need a proper cameraman here, don't I? Oh, somebody who doesn't knock the camera. I'm so sorry. So I'm hoping you can just catch that. And it just gives that lovely sort of adult little bit of glitter. And then to finish off, we'll add some of our Posca splats. Now again, give your Posca a good shake. And I want some larger splats. So I'm just going to come in. Let me just pump it up a bit. And we'll add a few large ones. Again, if you want to cover Pan, you can. And then we're going to come in and add some smaller ones around the tree. So again, I find if I hit it with a ruler or a brush, you get your smaller. And over the moon, we'll have smaller splats. And then just along here, along our buttercup and the base here, there we go. And it's that combination of the flicks with the larger splats and then using an object to gently hit it. So we get these gorgeous, I mean, you can dab on your splats, but for me, I never know where to dab them. So I always feel it's better to just let nature have a go at putting them where it wants them to go. So that's it. There's nothing unusual there that we've done. Let's wipe that up. And I've merrily put Mr. Inky Binky somewhere. Oh, he's on the floor. Filed on the floor with everything else. So we'll give that a wipe. Just keep it all nice, clean and tidy. So as I say, it's all things that we've done before, but just hopefully showing you a different way of using your brushes. Just doing that stamping first and then adding some brusho and water around. And then going with whatever you get to create a design. So here's my finished one. I'll bring that in to show you. And there's the one that we've created today. Now, I think, as I say, they'd be gorgeous for batch card making. And I just think it does give such a lovely magical. I know quite a few ladies have messaged and asked how to create sort of magical backgrounds. Well, this is easy, isn't it? I could see you making lots of these. And again, dare I say that Christmas word? I'm thinking a stamp, one of your Christmas images, and then some beautiful brushos in the background. Anyway, whatever you decide to stamp, whatever you decide to craft, I'd love to see what you're going to do. And as always, thank you for joining me. I hope you get some brushos out and have a play with them because they really are beautiful. And it's nice sometimes just not to know exactly where the design's going to finish, but to have an idea in your head. So you take care, everybody. Thank you for everything. I genuinely mean that. Much love and hugs from me. See you next week, gang. Bye for now.